Hi, and in this video, me and fellow love coach Rebecca Boatman are going to talk about the biggest mistakes we see women make in dating and relationship. Hi there, Matt Schaefer, your dating, empowerment, and relationship coach, here with my fellow love coach, Rebecca Boatman.
Hey
Rebecca,
guys.
How you doing?
I'm good. This is so awesome. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we are so excited to be here today to talk to you about the biggest mistakes we see women make in dating and relationship. And we're excited to dive into that. But before we do, take a second, hit that little subscribe button, and don't forget to click the link in the comments or caption for a great gift I've created for you, and also to join Rebecca's amazing Facebook group, The Brave Ladies.
Yeah, absolutely. Come
Yeah.
join me. It's fun.
It's gotta be
Girls,
fun.
girl talk.
Yeah, all right. So we work with women all over the world on creating and fostering deep, fulfilling relationships and to just date at a higher level. And we see women make a lot of the same mistakes and have a lot of the same patterns, right?
Yeah.
And so we're both going to talk about, I think, the biggest common mistake we see. And let's start off with dating. And Rebecca, I think you have something you really want to share with us on the dating front. So when you're first getting to know a guy, what's the biggest mistake that you see women making?
Such a good question. So before diving into that, I just want to share, I know that you guys want a good-hearted or a good, beautiful, loving, successful relationship. So everything that we share is directed to that. And one thing that I see happen all the time, women who are so sweet and they're just ready for a partnership, is they tend to get one-itis. Have you ever heard of one-itis?
Oh, I have. I've had one-itis terminally in my own life.
But what happens is that we...
So maybe you should explain to them what one-itis is.
So what happens is with one-itis is we tend to say we're going on dates. We go on a date with one guy and we are into him. All of a sudden we're like, oh my gosh, this guy's so cool. And then we tend to zone in on him prior to him courting us, prior to him showing that he's ready for commitment, prior to really getting to know him. And then we cut off all possibilities. And what happens is that I always support women. I'm like, it's important that you lean back and you date more than one man, so you can get to know them and see them objectively, right? I always say, I'm not saying sleep with these men. And what happens is women always say, I feel guilty, like I feel like I'm doing something wrong. And it doesn't feel as natural sometimes to not just date one guy. So I share that so you can have compassion with yourself. If you're like, that's me, I get one-itis. What can also sometimes come with that is that they allow men to choose them, women, and they're not being the chooser. So they're choosing to end up with men who show a slight bit of interest prior to actually stopping and pausing and asking, okay, how do I really feel on this date? How am I feeling with this man, right? Is this the experience that I truly want? Instead, they see one man, they put all their attention there prior to actually really getting to know the man to see if it really is a match for their dream relationship. And then what that creates is, the problem of settling, the problem of feeling stuck, the problem of feeling stagnant. I have a free download for you guys called What Keeps You Single. And we go into detail about this and also support you in how to get past that, because it can suck, right? Even you've been in one-itis.
I have.
Fun.
Well, I've been on both sides of it. I've had one-itis and felt very disempowered and really much at the mercy of the girl that I liked so much. And I've also been the receiver of one-itis. And I can tell you from the male perspective, when a woman's got one-itis for you, it can honestly make you take her for granted pretty quickly. Like if you see that a woman has made you her whole world and everything in her life and her talking revolves around you, as a guy, you can pick it up. Men are more intuitive than you think.
Yeah.
And when a guy gets that sense that he's in complete control and she's given total power to him like that, a lot of times that can not be a high value indicator for a guy. That can make a guy pull back and want to sort of like check out sometimes. So it's definitely valuable to demonstrate, especially in the very early stages of dating. You are high value, you have a life, you hold your frame, you know who you are, and you aren't solely focused on this man, and that will keep him drawn in. But the last thing I want to like ask you about the whole, dating multiple people at the same time is, how do you know when to sort of narrow it down and transition into focusing on one man?
That's a really good question. So I always say that men are hunters, right? And it's important that women show that when they're interested in a man, right? So this isn't about playing games. This isn't about, I'm dating multiple men just so I hope this man picks me, right? Or, gets jealous, because that's all manipulation and control, and that it'll be exhausting, and it will never be a win-win. So if your goal is, I want to be in a committed partnership, then once he is ready and you are ready, and that's something that you want to move forward with, with, and then of course you stop seeing other people. So what that can look like is a man sharing, like, I would love to spend all of my time with you and only you. And one thing that I want to plug in here, because it's like another mistake that I see in dating, is, you guys, if you truly want to, and it goes with what your question was too, if you truly want to be in a loving long-term partnership, I think it's really important to wait to be physically intimate and to get to know a man on multiple different levels of intimacy prior to physical intimacy, because what happens is when you're physically intimate, you stop seeing things objectively, and all oxytocin is released, and you get one-itis even more so, because it's a bonding agent, right? So with that being said, even the gentleman may try and come on and be physical early in a relationship, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad or not the right guy. And what you can share is, if that's a commitment you're willing to make to yourself, I'm only physically intimate with a man once I'm in an exclusive relationship. Notice how that's 100% about you, and you're not saying you're not giving an ultimatum, you're not being manipulative, but it's also only important to share that if it's a real intention and commitment of yours versus a form of manipulation. Okay? Does that make sense?
Totally. So it sounds like, in order to do this, right, in order to know when is the right time to transition from having a spectrum of partners into a single partnership, it all comes down to communication.
Yeah.
Right? It all comes down to having that open line of communication with the men that you're dating, and recognizing when you've got like a front runner, right? Because you always have a front runner.
That'll be the one-itis, but you don't let it win and take over.
Yeah. It's managed one-itis, right? But you gotta have the courage then to really stand for what you want, ask for what you want, and receive back from him whatever his response is. Once you have that mutual understanding based in communication that you both want to take that relation to the next level, you can create that exclusivity and that physical intimacy that you're craving, right?
Yeah, and it takes time, right? So you get to know each other, you get to know what you value, you get to know how your lifestyles are a match or not. So really, I always say, I'm like, the dating process is so fun, you guys. Everyone's single, like, you're in a really cool spot, so enjoy it, because before you know it, you'll be in the relationship of your dreams, and then it's another cool new experience. So enjoy this space that you're in, and have fun, and don't get one-itis, and go to whatkeepsyousingle.com so you can get those free support tips in there as well.
Exactly. And so I thank you so much for that, Rebecca. I really appreciate that. And then to take it into the relationship phase, right? So you're with that person. One of the biggest mistakes I see women making time and time again is projection. Because we all come into our relationship with a man or with a woman, right, with some wounds from past relationships, some trauma from past relationships. We all have past experiences, right? And a lot of times we will filter the behavior of our partner through the lens of our experience. So no matter what you've gone through with a man before, you'll see your new partner do something, like maybe he'll hesitate to say I love you. In your last relationship, you had a man who had a lot of challenges being emotionally vulnerable. And so you'll take that little hesitation, and it'll trigger that wound that you have around your last partner refusing to say I love you, and you will take it out on your new partner, right? And so you'll project that past wound onto your new partner's behavior and create an unnecessary conflict, right? Because a man can tell when a woman is projecting onto him. Like when a man does a little thing that isn't really in its own right, a major action or a major mistake, and a woman blasts him a lot. A lot of times that's because, he's triggered a past wound of hers, and she's projecting that onto him. And that hurts from the male perspective, right? Because then we don't feel like we're being taken in and experienced for who we are, right? We want to be seen for who we are. We don't want to be seen as a reflection of a past relationship. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for women to really recognize when they're being triggered and when they feel that desire, that impulse to project onto their partners, and really take a deep breath and take a step back. And don't just go down the rabbit hole, because I know it's a very strong feeling, right? When you feel that triggered and that projected
It's the end of the world.
Yeah, it's the end of the world, but it's not, right? So ladies, if I was
But here it feels like it, right?
in here and in your heart, right? So it's really important, ladies, that when you feel triggered, when you feel that desire to project the wounds from your past relationships onto your new partner, to hit the pause button, give yourself a break, get some space, and allow yourself to sort of like come back down to earth.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you don't want your old relationships to get all over your new one.
And your course really helps with that.
Yeah, oh yeah. My course really helps with that. Be sure to click the link in the comments or caption because we're gonna be looking a lot at your underlying beliefs,
Yeah, it's so
at all
important.
the things that are coming up for you, because you really have to do that inner work before you're gonna be able to be in that healthy, fulfilling relationship that you're craving.
Yeah, you do not want to miss out on that, and going there to actually not put a band-aid on it, to create what you really want. And I love what you said, Matt, and it had me thinking like, I laughed because I remember someone said to me one time, they're like, it's like you got a paper cut and you're calling 911.
Yeah.
So a good indicator, I feel like, that you're projecting or that a wound's being touched, if say like I'm trying to think of a little example. Say he says like, oh wow, you're eating French fries at 10 p.m. Like he just says it to like say it, and you're like, you're calling me fat, and like it goes like it's a strong emotion. So
Yeah.
if a strong feeling arises over something minor that was said, most likely there's something deeper there. And what Matt can really help with in his course is really clearing that out, so that you're finally living freedom and you're not being, running wild off these minor things that can be so minor, but then they take over. So that's so powerful.
Exactly. To give y'all an understanding, these are the two main things, main mistakes we see women making. So beware of the one-itis, right?
Yeah.
Beware of the one-itis, and take Rebecca's coaching around that, because it's really going to serve you in showing up more powerful and more high value.
Dating like Madonna? Like, come on, you're going to have so much more
Beyonce.
fun. Or Beyonce.
Yeah, although she isn't single, but if she ever was. She can pretty much date whoever she wants.
Yeah.
And then when you're dating and also when you're in a relationship, really look for projection. Look for getting triggered. And ask yourself, check in with yourself when you're in an emotionally elevated state. Is this really connected to this person's behavior, or am I triggered and projecting from my past relationship and past trauma? And be willing to take a step back and look at that. And if you can kind of avoid those two big mistakes, you're just going to be a lot more grounded, a lot more powerful, and a lot more effective in creating the sort of relationship and love that you want in your life.
Wow, so that's what we want for you guys.
It is. So I hope you love this content. Be sure to check out Rebecca's amazing content. We're going to have links to it in the captions and comments, and mine as well. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments. We really love hearing from you. Bye, guys.